Is XRP about to crash before an epic moonshot, or is it all just a beautifully disguised bull trap? With a crucial ETF deadline, a looming court ruling, and swirling SEC settlement rumors, XRP sits at a crossroads. Some analysts say we're heading for one more brutal dip before liftoff. Others argue the rocket fuel is already loading for a rally to $3.79. So what's the truth? Final capitulation or breakout mode? Let's break it down. Right now, XRP's price is hanging by a thread. XRP set for major move. The key driver? A critical court decision. Judge Torres is expected to rule on a joint motion by Ripple and the SEC that could completely change the game. This motion, filed on June 12th, asks to vacate the current injunction that blocks Ripple from selling XRP to institutions. If granted, it would not only reduce the $125 million penalty to $50 million, but more importantly, it could finally end the years-long Ripple lawsuit. Crypto attorney John Deaton, a well-respected voice in the XRP community, believes there's a 70% chance Judge Torres grants Ripple's request. He points out that the SEC's past aggressive behavior toward crypto, including being called arbitrary and capricious by an appellate court, could work in Ripple's favor. And if that happens, the implications are enormous. Legal uncertainty and ETF deadlines. The timing couldn't be more intense. On June 16th, the SEC must submit a status report on the potential settlement to the U.S. Court of Appeals. That means Judge Torres needs to rule before then, or everything could get delayed again. And here's where things get even more interesting. The approval of Ripple's June 12th motion would likely lead both sides to drop their appeals, creating a path toward full regulatory clarity. And that regulatory clarity? It's the missing puzzle piece needed for a spot XRP ETF. Franklin Templeton's XRP ETF deadline is also looming, June 17. If this falls into place, XRP could explode toward its all-time high of $3.55. But if Judge Torres rejects the motion, expect increased volatility, possibly another leg down. Technical breakdown. Let's talk charts. XRP is currently trading below its 50-day exponential moving average, but above the 200-day EMA. That setup means we're in a bearish near-term trend, but the longer-term structure is holding. Key resistance, $2.20. A breakout here could send XRP toward $2.65 and eventually $3.40 plus. Key support, $2. A drop below that puts $1.92 in play. The RSI currently sits at 42.29, not oversold yet. That suggests there's still room for another dip before we bounce. But the chart shows something else. Shrinking volatility, tightening candles. A wedge pattern is forming. That means pressure is building up and a breakout could be imminent. Market sentiment. Sentiment is shifting. Despite short-term selling pressure, XRP is up over 2.3% this week, holding steady between $2 and $2.30. Volume may be lower than usual, but it's stable. Market cap, still over $127 billion, and that's key. Because this isn't just a speculative pump. This is consolidation at high levels. Remember, XRP exploded over 550% in 2024 alone. Now we're seeing a pause, a tightening, a coil. Traders are eyeing the $2.30 zone. Break that, and it's game on for $2.99, $3.40, get out, and even $3.79. Ripple versus the SEC. Now, back to the lawsuit, because it's the key. The June 12th motion asks the court to approve a settlement where $50 million goes to the SEC, $75 million is returned to Ripple. This would end the injunction that blocked XRP institutional sales and allow Ripple to proceed without the SEC looming over its head. Some experts believe Judge Torres is ready to end this once and for all. Why? Because this case has dragged on since 2020. Even legal analyst Bill Morgan says the judge may be just as fatigued with it as the rest of us. Still, others like Fred Rispoli caution that the new motion might still get denied for lacking detailed arguments. Ripple treasury activity and institutional moves. But here's what's most bullish. Ripple isn't waiting. They've already begun expanding institutional partnerships. Public companies like Vivo Energy and WeBus International are launching XRP-based treasury operations. Ondo Finance recently launched tokenized U.S. treasuries on the XRP ledger. These aren't dreams. These are real-world institutional use cases happening now. And if the lawsuit gets resolved, Ripple could revive its IPO plans, and XRP could finally take its rightful spot as the bridge currency for global finance. Potential downside. But let's not get carried away. There are real risks. If the motion gets denied again, or if the SEC continues its crypto-hostile stance, XRP could retest lower support levels, $1.92 or even below. There's also geopolitical risk, US-China tensions, the Israel-Iran conflict, and interest rate policy from the Fed. All of this affects market confidence. And volume is down by over 44%, a warning sign that the bulls are waiting. But remember this, smart money tends to accumulate during periods of uncertainty. So the real question is, are you ready to hold through the noise? Competing payment networks. Let's zoom out. XRP has long dominated the cross-border payment space, but competition is heating up. Projects like Remitix and others are gaining traction. Faster, cheaper, more flexible. The race is on. That's why this lawsuit resolution is make or break. Ripple needs the legal win to stay ahead, and investors know it. That's why they're watching price levels closely, especially around the $2 mark. Hold that level and the structure remains bullish. Lose it and we retest lower zones before the next leg up. Technical setup and key levels. A quick recap of the key levels. Support $2 critical, then Bonin 92, resistance 220, 230, then 2.65 cents. Breakout zones. $2.99, $3.40, 3.79 cents. If XRP clears 2.30 cents, momentum builds fast. That's your trigger. If you're waiting for the perfect entry, watch that level. Meanwhile, technical patterns like the Morningstar reversal and descending wedge just bullish continuation. All XRP needs is one good catalyst. Long-term prediction. Zooming out even further, with institutional clarity, spot ETF approval, and Ripple's treasury strategies going global, XRP is being positioned for a breakout. Short-term target, 250, mid-term target, 3.79 cents. Long-term target, some analysts see 5+ by 2025 if Ripple IPOs and regulatory clarity solidifies. And let's not forget Ripple's partnerships with big banks. Once the fog clears, XRP's utility will be impossible to ignore. So is this the final dip before liftoff, or are we staring down another false breakout? Here's the bottom line. A favorable ruling from Judge Torres could ignite XRP's next bull run. Spot ETF deadlines are approaching fast, institutions are circling, but risk remains. Stay alert, trade smart, because if this is the start of XRP's moon mission, you'll want to be on board. If you found this breakdown valuable, smash that like button, subscribe for more XRP updates, and drop your price prediction in the comments. Are we going to 3.79 taints or dipping below $2 one more time? Join the discussion below and stay tuned, because the next move is going to be big.